Alright, so here's what you're going to need to know in order to trick others into thinking that you've played Persona 5. Whew, this was a long time coming. I've actually never played a Persona game. Why start at 5, you may ask? Well, while these numbers increase with every installment, each game you play is self-contained. They don't require any prior knowledge on the past games in order to enjoy them. But with that, let's get started, because we honestly have a lot to go over. And for real, who would put that much effort into a video? So what better place to start off our story than at the end of it?
Boo! You stink!
After some not-so-good cop interrogation and subtle blackmail, we write down our name and prep for trial. But before we go off, a prosecutor by the name of Sai Nijima wishes to interrogate us, and we're forced to start our story at the very beginning.
Damn brat! I'll sue!
Alright, off to a great start. We're forced to transfer schools and are put on probation. This is where we meet our new guardians.
I'm Sojiro Sakura. I'll at least give you sheets for your bed. That's what you get for sticking your nose in a matter between two adults. In other words, they got rid of you for being a pain in the ass.
Trust me, you'll warm up to him. And while you might think you can escape into the land of your dreams...
Trickster, welcome to my velvet room.
This is Igor, Justine, and Caroline. They're gonna be the ones to help you get out of this mess. And after stopping by the new school to introduce yourself...
Honestly, I hesitated on accepting someone like you. But there were some circumstances on our side.
I've done nothing wrong! Upon walking to school, you run into a boy named Ryuji, who I'm contractually obligated to tell you is the best boy in the game, and you both decide to walk to school together. Upon reaching the school... Ta-da! You've accidentally stumbled upon a palace, aka the alternative reality to our world, made out of the distorted desires of a person's heart. This one belongs to Kamoshida, the gym teacher at the school. His crimes range from emotional and physical abuse, sexual harassments, threats, blackmail.
Everyone present right now will be expelled. I'm reporting all of you at the next board meeting.
How rude! But before you bite the bullet at the hands of his minions and his scantily clad body...
Snatched.
So now you've got yourself a persona, the manifestation of a persona user's personality. After trying to find your way out of the palace, you run across a cat, creature, person thing named Morgana. He'll be your guide and mentor for the time being. He also tells you that if you steal the treasure of a person's palace, they'll lose their desires and confess their crimes. Or die. It's 50-50, it's worth it. After you escape, you befriend a girl named An.
I'm just here to look pretty, that's it.
Who's one of the victims of Kamoshida's constant harassment. Once An and Ryuji awaken their personas, you infiltrate the palace and steal the treasure, causing Kamoshida to confess all his crimes and is arrested. With this newfound ability to change people's hearts, you and the group will continue on as the Phantom Thieves. Hell yeah! Our second target comes to light while deep down in a place called Mementos. They're like palaces, but they're shared by everyone. We hear a rumor of a world-renowned artist named Madarame. His crimes are plagiarism, counterfeit artwork, and counterfeiting the work of his pupils. After a rather scandalous interrogation with his pupil Yusuke.
Takamaki-san, are you about...
We gain Yusuke as an ally after he finds out about his teacher's misdoings. You steal his treasure, and it follows in the same pattern. But we learn that you may not be the only Persona user messing around in palaces. Nah, but forget it, it's about time for that school trip.
These Phantom Thieves are real. I believe they should be tried in a court of law.
This is Akechi, an ace detective. Don't pay much attention to him, he's not that important. Just kidding, don't trust him, look at that face, it's pure evil! You know, the game portrays the adults in this game as very inept and very nosy, like the principal at the school, who can't seem to mind his own business. He wants info on the Phantom Thieves because he believes that they're students in the school. The student council president is asked to investigate. This is Makoto. While her investigation on the Phantom Thieves proves fruitless, we learn that students at the school are being shaken down by a notorious crime ring. Well, what better target for the Phantom Thieves to get than an actual criminal?
Come on, you all look so tense. I think I'll call it debauchery of minors at a club. So, can I send this to your school?
This is your fault. This is Kaneshiro, the leader of the crime ring that's been exploiting students, and it just so happens that he has a palace too. Oh, and look, Makoto awakened her persona.
Got it!
What you mean? They're both
A persona?
No, dude. It's a bike! I know, but they're both
A persona?
What?
After you go in and steal his treasure,
I can take care of this myself!
we learn that this mysterious persona user may be responsible for mental shutdowns that have been happening all over Tokyo. Now this is one of the more interesting palaces, as the team goes in without the intention of making the person confess, but instead to help them alleviate their depression. During the summer, a hacker group named Medjed taunts the Phantom Thieves by saying that they are the true purveyors of justice, and that if the Phantom Thieves do not reveal their identities, that they will begin terrorizing all of Japan. We're approached by a shut-in named Futaba. She just so happens to be Shojiro's adopted daughter. She suffers heavily from the trauma of watching her mother's death, and after infiltrating her palace, and having to fight one of the more creepier bosses in the game, oddly enough, Futaba ends up in her own palace, and awakens her persona. Boom! Boss defeated, treasure stolen, depression cured, it's just that easy. Oh yeah, and Medjed is gone too. After a school trip that takes all of 2 minutes to complete.
Yes, we're here! Oh, wow!
12 seconds later.
Yo, welcome back. You get tanned a bit?
The thieves have picked out their new target, a fast food tycoon named Okumura. Alright, so I'm just gonna quickly interject here. The next plot point is probably one of the weakest and, in my opinion, the dumbest story segment, but we still gotta talk about it. So Morgana and Ryuji get into an unprovoked argument, Morgana splits from the group and tries to steal the treasure on his own to prove his point.
At the very least, I'm more admirable than some carnal blonde monkey.
This goes about as well as expected, but he's saved by a new member of the team, Haru. She's the daughter of Okumura, and wants to change his heart despite him being family. Morgana and the group make up, Haru awakens her full power, because apparently it's possible to awaken only half of your persona? I don't get it, just roll with it. Rinse and repeat for the palace, and we're done. Time to celebrate! Okay, so Palace 6, Sainijima. During the school festival of which Akechi, you know that guy I told you about earlier?
Just kidding, don't trust him, look at that face, it's pure evil!
Announces that he has found out the identities of the Phantom Thieves. After which, backstage, he essentially blackmails us into doing one more heist and then disbanding. See, he knows we're innocent, but the prosecutor for the case, aka the woman who's interrogating us right now, totally not awkward or anything, has her desires warped and is willing to falsely convict someone in order to solve the Phantom Thieves case. Akechi becomes our ally for the time being. We go into the palace and steal the treasure. Hey, doesn't this place look familiar? Welcome to the present. Now that we've caught up with the present, things matter a lot more, and depending on what you say will determine what ending you get. Akechi shoots you. Next. Akechi shoots you, but you survive? Okay, let me explain. While the game you've been playing has been nothing but a long-winded flashback, there are some parts that we've missed out on. Morgana and you knew that Akechi was suspicious from the start, and it's all because of one simple slip-up. Pancakes. So what follows is simple. The interrogation room that you're in also exists in Sainijima's palace. So all we had to do was trick Akechi into looking into our phone and making him enter the palace, where a fake version of our hero was waiting to bite the bullet for us. Now it's time to attack the person behind it all. And that true culprit just so happens to be... bald. The guy who messed up your life from the very start, Shido. A politician that's used every crime in the book to get to where he is. So while in his palace, we run into our friend, enemy, frenemy Akechi, who turns out to be Shido's illegitimate son. And it turns out that his persona was just a facade, and his true power is the ability to make people go insane. Perfect skill to put on a resume, honestly. After a swift defeat, it turns out that you can't trust anyone, not even yourself, as a puppet version of Akechi working for Shido planned on doing him in all along. But he sacrifices himself so we can get away.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.
Alright, so after you send out the most extra calling card in existence, you snag his treasure, and nothing's happening this time. In an odd turn of events, despite his confession, the collective masses seem to not really buy it. There's no outcry, no riots, nothing. Well, it's deduced that humanity as a whole has had their hearts warped, and the only way to cure everyone is in mementos. Which, you know, all we have to do is kill a god. They fail for the first time because it has an OP self-heal, and we have to leave and regroup. And things are really... Alright, so we lost. And plot twist, Igor isn't even Igor, but the main villain. And the twins are two halves of one whole. You recombine them and the real Igor is released. After we release our friends from their self-enforced prison, it's now time to fight God himself. Yay, we did it! Oh, but boo, we have to confess when we got into juvie. So, while this could be where it ends, our friends find evidence that proves us to be innocent, and our probation is over. And with one last heartfelt goodbye, it's time that we head home. Hi everyone, I'm sorry that this video was so long, but I wanted to get as small as a video as possible without having to sacrifice key plot points. So I hope that this wasn't as draining in any way, but hey, if you liked how long the video was, then let me know. I'm still experimenting with all this, and I thank you for all your support. In the description, you'll find links to all my social media outlets, and my Twitch, where I scream at video games every now and then. Wow, we made it through the whole video without making a
You'll never see it come back.